Hi, I'm Sherman with Highland Park Lapidary, and in this video I'm going to show you how to replace the blade on your Model 6 trim saw. If I'm going to zoom in here and you'll see here I've got the 6 trim saw here, and on the top there's some screws. Move my camera here a little bit closer so you can see. There's 4 screws. I've already undone these. They're stainless steel little screws that go on the top. You're going to take those out, and then the whole plate will lift off the unit, and there you're actually going to see there's a gasket. There's a little gasket. We do sell replacements of these if you need them. They're on the website. And there's your main little arbor butt bolt. Now sometimes it's a little tricky if this has got any rust in there. My technique is to be able to get a wrench on there, hold the blade, and I'll use a hammer or something and just, you know, do a sharp blow to it, and that will oftentimes get the nut coming loose. And I'll undo the nut here. There's my arbor nut, my flange, the blade itself, the blade bushing right there is my little blade bushing. Now that's basically it. Now one of the things you want to pay attention to is when you're working with these little flanges, you want to make sure your arbor shaft itself is really clean. You don't want to have material that gets in there, like a little tiny chip can cause your blade to really wobble. So when I'm working in here, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to clean this really carefully around here, so that I can avoid having any kind of like chips or dirt inside that little arbor area. Both on the flanges themselves, I'm going to make sure that I clean this very, very good, as well as I want to clean in here to make sure that I don't have any dirt, because a little bit of dirt on a small blade with a small flange like this is really going to cause you problems with the thing to have potential wobble in your blade. So I've already done the cleaning here. To reassemble, I'm going to put that on. My flange, my bushing, I'll stick my little bushing in. The only purpose of the blade bushing is to center the blade. The bushing itself does not hold the blade. The blade is held by the 2 flanges. So I'll put my blade back on. The bushing just stabilizes it. I stick my second flange on there, and then I take my nut, put the nut in there, and hand tighten this up. And you don't have to go crazy when you go tighten these up. Basically, you know, to tighten the blade up. And now if you're running a super thin blade, you wouldn't use this, but with this thicker blade, I'm just going to grip it and tighten it. If I do need to tighten any more, I can go pull the belt cover off on this side, which can be done by 3 screws, and I'll show you where that's at right here. If you look on the side, there's a screw here, and then there's 2 screws on the outside here. Just to explain how simple this is to take off, is I'll just take it all apart. Undo this one screw here, and then undo this screw here on the outside, the last screw. The beauty with these particular saws is they're super easy to be able to take apart. They're ultra durable. Our belt guards, heaviest belt guards in the industry, really, really safe and secure. And if you look here, I'll just move this camera around and then we'll switch to it. Here you'll see that what I have is I have pulley here, a little pulley here. Now note this belt does not have to be super tight. Some people get crazy about tightening their belts. If I can squeeze it together like that, that's fine. It does not have to be tight. This has not got a huge amount of force on it, so don't make the mistake of getting crazy tightening your belts up. They don't have to be that tight. To tighten the belts, you're obviously adjusting the motor mount here and sliding the motor in. But that's not something that you need to worry too much about in terms of the belt tightness. If it's snug, the blade's turning, and if I do need to then grip this a little bit more to tighten the flange, I can grab this pulley and I can just tighten it. It doesn't have to be tight, because remember, the rotation of the saw itself is going to actually make it, the nut's going to naturally tighten because the nut's turning this way, the blade's turning that way. So that's basically it. Putting it all together will be very straightforward, basically reversing what I did. Put my belt guard back on, put my screws in place, and you're good to go. So when I put this back together, the big thing you want to pay attention to is, once I put my blade on there, is I'm going to line up my tray, and then I'm lining up my holes here. One thing you want to avoid doing is getting crazy on tightening up your screws. You do not need to go too crazy. All you got to do is snug this down. So I'm going to line up my screws, starting by hand. And then once you got your screws started by hand, then you do the rest of it with a screwdriver. But the Model 6 isn't super durable saw. It's a really, really beautifully built. It's made out of cast aluminum. It's not flimsy. If you do run water in it, some people do, if you're cutting turquoise or other oil sensitive materials, you can run water in it. The big thing is just clear the water out at night. Don't leave the water sitting in there. Clear it out, spray down the components with WD-40 or some other kind of light oil that will keep the material from rusting. But beyond that, super easy to work with a saw. You're gonna have a great time with that.